Dear Sagittarius, do you feel it, that something is about to come crashing down? Not an accident, not just misfortune, but a tsunami of karma? Maybe you haven't spoken it aloud, but you felt it in the dreams that keep repeating, in the eyes of someone who once walked away and whom you still can't forget. If you are Sagittarius, this is not just a warning. This is a wake-up call. And if you are brave enough to stay until the end, you will uncover the reason why only sincere regret from the soul can release you from this spiral. Write in the comments if you feel ready. I choose to face my karma, to step into a new destiny. Because writing it down is how you unlock the first gate back to the light. And now, let me take you to the first truth. Sagittarius, you once chose something that wasn't yours, and the consequences have already begun to ripple. There is a kind of regret that doesn't come from losing something you had, but from holding on to something you never truly did, yet still refuse to let go. Sagittarius, you are the child of freedom, the seeker of truth across barren deserts and maps no one else dared to draw. You were born to cross boundaries, to ask what others avoid, to find the sacred hidden within what the world calls ordinary. But sometimes, that boundless hunger leads you to reach for things that were never meant for you, simply because they momentarily satisfied a deeper ache. And somewhere deep in your soul, you knew. I'm not here to judge you. I only want to ask you one thing. Have you ever chosen a person, a path, a dream, simply because you were afraid of being left behind? If yes, you are not alone. Because I've been there too. I once forced myself into becoming a version that made others feel at peace, while inside, I was slowly dying. The square between the South Node, the knot of past karma, and Jupiter, your ruling planet, is activating the fourth house, the place where memories are stored, where origin wounds reside, where the pieces never quite fit together. This is a sign. You are being called to return to the beginning, to look honestly at what you once chose only because it felt familiar or safe. In life, what makes us lose our way isn't always the darkness, but the false light we blindly follow. What hurts the most is not what we lose, but what we keep holding on to, even when it was never meant for us, as if letting go would cause us to disappear. And here's a painful truth I've learned after working with thousands of astrological charts. Sagittarius can be brilliant in vision, but you often lose touch with your intuition when your heart is starving for affection. Ask yourself this: have you ever chosen someone just because they made you feel needed? Have you ever said yes to an opportunity because you feared that if you didn't, you'd fall behind? If you feel brave enough to face this now, write it in the comments. I once chose wrong, but I choose to learn from it. Let that confession become the first bridge bringing you back to the light. And if your chest feels tight right now, it's because old memories are rising to the surface. Not to hurt you, but to finally let you forgive yourself. But be careful, because this time, a wrong choice won't just break your heart. It may cost you a piece of your soul, one you fought for years to protect, and you know it's already begun, in the eyes of someone slowly pulling away, in a door that closed quietly without blame, in a silence that hurts more than any scream ever could. But why is this happening to Sagittarius, the sign of light, of philosophy, of hope? The answer lies in the very place you've been most afraid to look. And next I will tell you who once placed their trust in you and now carries the weight of the karma you left behind. Don't leave yet. Because some truths, once revealed, forever change how you see yourself. There is a kind of silence, not because someone stopped loving you, but because they've carried too much from something you thought was just a small mistake. Sagittarius, you are the wanderer, the initiator, the one who starts things, always looking forward, always hungry for the next horizon. But no one ever taught you that when you walk away, some people don't just lose you. They lose their faith in the goodness of this world. You once made someone believe in a promise, in a beautiful image you gave them, even if only for a moment. And then you were too busy moving forward. But they stayed, with a hollow space they had to learn to fill on their own, day by day, with unnamed sadness. I don't write these words to make you hurt. I write them because I know, somewhere in your heart, you still remember. You remember the last time you turned away without a word. You remember their eyes, not angry, just quietly broken. And you remember not knowing what to do with that feeling. Astrology doesn't speak in language, but right now, Mercury in retrograde in your 7th house is reopening an old file. A relationship that was never closed with truth. A person still holding space for you because you never came back to take it back. And what I see now is a half-burnt candle. The flame is still there, but barely, waiting for you to return and light the rest of it. If not, it will go out, permanently, and a soul connection will become karma without an exit. I used to think that regret was weakness, but I've come to learn, only the brave dare to look back at the places where they once caused pain, not to change the past, but to stop that pain from being passed on into the future. No one wants to believe they were the reason someone lost a part of themselves. But the truth is, a small act, a silence, a turned back, a moment of not returning can start a chain reaction you never even imagined. And now, regret isn't just here to save you. It is the key to freeing the other person from a quiet suffering they never deserved to carry. If you feel that you've ever caused someone pain, even unintentionally, write this in the comments. I am ready to carry my part to set their soul free. The universe reads energy through every word you release, and this small act could be the way for both souls to be released at once. Because forgiveness isn't to ease their heart. It's so you can stop living with a mistaken memory as if it's still the present, and you will need that release. Because in what comes next, you will realize not everyone comes back to seek justice, but some truths will quietly drag you down day by day until you're willing to face them. Sagittarius, are you ready to look back before what was meant to be repaired turns into a final sentence? Stay with me, because what's about to be revealed will change everything you believe about sin and redemption. Some truths don't disappear just because we stop speaking about them. They remain in a quiet corner, silent but never asleep. Sagittarius, maybe you once believed that moving forward was enough, and the past would simply fade. But there are moments in life that refuse to be forgotten. They return, not to haunt you, but because they are the key to your soul's true freedom. I'm not asking what you did. I'm only asking, what did you hide? A feeling you never dared to admit? An action you justified by saying, I had no other choice back then? A truth that, if spoken, would change forever the way someone sees you. Pluto, the planet of darkness, transformation, and hidden power, is now retrograding through your 12th house. This is the house of ancestral secrets, unspoken wounds, and family shadows buried deep. And if lately you've felt an unexplainable exhaustion, or as if something is holding you back despite doing everything right, maybe the truth you once buried is now digging its way out. Lies don't need to be spoken aloud. Sometimes, just standing there in silence can add weight to someone's suffering. Silence carries weight, and sometimes that weight is karmic. Ask yourself, not to blame but to be honest, if I had told the truth back then, would today look any different? You might say, I don't know. But your soul knows. It knew the moment you turned away, and it has been waiting ever since for you to return and complete what was left unnamed. Forgiveness cannot begin while the truth is still hidden. And self-forgiveness cannot happen until you stand up and face the part of you that chose to look away. If your heart feels heavy right now, if an image, a memory, a person suddenly comes to mind, write this in the comments. I am ready to face the truth, late but real. That sentence, though short, might open a gate you locked long ago, because you cannot move forward while the past still weighs behind you like stones you pretend not to see. And now, that truth is returning. Not to punish, not to destroy, but to ask you, in a voice that is soft and low, is it time? And if you still hesitate, stay. Because what's about to be revealed isn't just about you. It's about someone caught between two worlds, someone you once owed a word to, but never said it. Have you ever woken up at 3 a.m. with the feeling that someone was just standing by your bed? Not to scare you, but to watch over you, to remind you that you have never walked alone. Sagittarius, you are the soul of adventure, the one who walks roads no one else dares. But there are journeys you cannot continue until you turn around and complete an ancient promise. A promise you've forgotten, but they haven't. In your star chart, the waning moon is passing through the 8th house, the house of death, of soul transformation, and of debts never repaid. And I say this with reverence. This isn't karma you created. It's a wound passed down the bloodline from soul to soul, and now you are the last to carry it. Not because you're weak, but because the universe chooses the strongest to finish what others could not. Have you ever dreamed of an altar? Not clearly, just a faint light. The smell of incense floating silently in the air, and a tear falling from a face you cannot quite remember? That wasn't a dream. It was a signal from a soul waiting to be freed through you. And this is what they're trying to say. We've walked with you through the years you didn't know why you were still alive. But if you don't turn around and look, we can't move forward. Not us and not you. Your ancestors have not left. They remain, not because they have nowhere else to go, but because you are the last open door. No one is completely separate from their past. And some debts cannot be paid in gold. They must be paid in memory, in gratitude, in sacred action. If you've ever felt a hand you couldn't see pull you away from danger, a whisper like wind in your ear when you were about to give up, know this, that was someone who once loved you. Maybe not in this life, but in another time. If you feel like someone is watching over you from another realm, write in the comments, I hear the call, and I am ready to answer my ancestors. Because only when you acknowledge them will they know that they are not waiting in vain. And sometimes, a single candle you light, a simple thank you whispered into the dark, is enough to carry a soul into the light. Sagittarius, you carry the blood of a healer, a soul sent to complete what others left unfinished. And next, you will discover what happens if you ignore this call, and why silence now could trap an entire soul between worlds. There will be moments in life when you cannot turn back. You cannot ask for more time, you cannot pretend not to know. And for Sagittarius, that moment is now. Can you hear it? Not the wind, but the shaking within your soul, like a wave rising from the deepest place of memory, karma, and ancient vows. From this month forward, your journey moves into the great Jupiterian cycle. And at the same time, Neptune, planet of the soul, illusions, and collective karma, is merging with your energy. This isn't a gentle merging. It doesn't arrive to comfort. It comes like a spiritual tsunami, washing away all pretending, everything you tried to forget, every mask you wore to survive, and it places you before an open book. On it is your name, written in tears, in silences, in actions you're no longer proud of. There's a page that's been torn out, a memory you tried to erase. And there's one last blank page, waiting for you to write the ending. But remember this, if you continue to stay silent, this karma won't stop with you. It will flow downward, to the one you love, to the child you haven't even met yet, to the person you once promised to protect, but never truly did. I've seen this unfold in hundreds of birth charts I've read over the years. When a soul refuses to face the truth, its suppressed energy will find its way into the most vulnerable members of the family. Maybe you can endure it. But does the child you love deserve to carry that darkness? This is no longer about you. This is about the river of karma, and you are the last conscious link strong enough to stop it. The question now isn't, are you guilty or not? The question is, will you keep avoiding it, or will you write the final chapter with the honor of a soul born to carry light? If your heart is beating faster, if your throat tightens without reason, if you find yourself in tears and don't know why, write in the comments, I choose to stop the karma with me, not for praise, not to be forgiven, but so your soul knows you chose what is right, even if it came late. Let me show you how your fire can stay lit in this tsunami, not to burn, but to become the light that guides those behind you. Don't leave yet. What's coming next won't be theory. It will be action, sacred, final, and real. There will come a moment when you realize no one is asking you to apologize. But if you don't offer it yourself, you'll remain stuck. Stuck in the moment the wound happened. Stuck where your soul stopped growing. Sagittarius, you are the light. But even light needs a shadow to shine against. And right now that shadow isn't someone else. It's the part of you you've refused to face. No complex ritual, no guru, no magic needed. There is only one way forward. Face it. Own it. Act with your real heart. Start with something simple, but more sacred than any ritual. Write a letter of apology. You don't have to send it. They never have to read it. Just write it, with your hand, with your tears, with your truth. Write to the one you hurt. Write to the younger you, the one who didn't know better. Write to a soul who has passed, to whom you owe a word never spoken. Then, light a white candle. Sit with it. You don't need to beg. Just speak softly, as if speaking to the deepest part of yourself. I'm not running anymore. I take responsibility for my soul, and I am sorry, with all my heart. Regret doesn't make you weak. Regret is the bridge that brings you back to the light. You can't change the past, but you can stop repeating it with one honest action, one real word, one moment of courage to say, I was wrong, and I choose to heal, starting with myself. Don't wait for anyone to forgive you, because true forgiveness is when you love yourself enough not to keep living as someone you no longer wish to be. And now, as you sit there quietly, hearing your heartbeat, feeling emotion rise from deep within, what are you feeling? Write it down. It doesn't have to be perfect, just real. Right now, I feel. Because the moment you dare to say it is the moment karma begins to dissolve, like a soft rain after a violent storm. And now, Sagittarius, there's one thing you need to know. The flame inside you never died. It only needed one honest breath to rise again, not to destroy, but to light your way home. Let me tell you what awaits on the other side of that act, and why, if you forgive yourself today, your entire future will begin to shift. Stay. Because the greatest reward always comes after the moment you thought you couldn't go on. If you've listened all the way to this moment, I want you to know something. Not as a narrator, but as a soul bowing before the journey you've just bravely walked through. I know you've been in pain. I know there were moments you wanted to disappear, just so you wouldn't disappoint anyone anymore. But you're still here, and that is the greatest miracle of all. Sagittarius, you are not just a bearer of light. You are the one who dared to walk through the darkness, to open old wounds and cleanse them with new love, to face what no one could see, but always lived inside you. Thank you for staying. Thank you for listening to your soul even when the world demanded you scream instead. Thank you for choosing forgiveness over punishment and growth over escape. If you feel ready to open the book with your name on it and write in it with truth, with light, with compassion, comment below. I have returned, and this time with a heart that no longer hides. No one can rewrite the past, but we can rewrite how we walk forward from this moment on. And if this message touched something deep in you, leave a like, share this video, not just for yourself, but for anyone out there wrestling with unnamed guilt, unfinished memories, and souls still waiting to be freed. Because light was never meant to be kept. Light is meant to spread. Just like you, Sagittarius, born to illuminate the lost, to reignite faith in places where hope was forgotten. And if you wish to continue this journey, stay with the channel. Stay open to the next messages the universe is preparing just for you. Because the miracle doesn't end here. You've just walked out from the heart of the karmic storm, no longer the same, but now a soul who understands the light within the dark. Now is the time to live true, as if you were born again. See you again on the next path where light is no longer lost but has finally found its way home.